There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who are you going to call? The Enterprise? My name is Andrew, I love sci-fi, and today I'm going to review the most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, Ghost of Illyria. There's a lot to unpack this week, so we're going to jump right in. Once again, we start off with a recap. While I do appreciate that it is character-focused and not event-focused, I'm still not enjoying the recaps. Making up for the recap, though, is the first time I've heard an actual log entry on Star Trek. In fact, I think the last time I remember hearing one was in Season 3 of Discovery when Culber is making comments about how the crew's doing after their jump to the 31st century. It's really nice to get that classic Star Trek element back into it. Thank you, Una. Thank you for your logs this week. That book ended the episode. That was really great. So something else that was cool to see was the away team jackets. This is a nice little nod, I think, back to the original pilot, The Cage, and the jackets that Jeffrey Hunter and Leonard Nimoy, Majel Barrett wore. I think it was really nice to see this extra little element come back into play. It's something I've always missed. You know, you look at The Cage and you see that nice little production value, and then original series never had it. Next Generation never really had it. I think Deep Space Nine came close with the desert uniforms, but it was really nice to see the away team jackets back once again. I really can't wait to see more elements like that. I think that's really cool. And speaking of other things that are cool, engineering. Okay, engineering. I think engineering is really nice. We had a glimpse of it in the premiere, and today we got to see it in a lot more full force. I understand this is a virtual set. I am so glad it's not buttoneering from the JJ movies. It still feels very TOS. I loved the power transfer conduits that were going up just like they were in especially the third season of TOS. I'm loving the physical buttons, the physical switches, the physical sliders. I think that's a nice little touch, and I noticed that even under the engineering consoles there was that nice decorated grate that we saw quite a bit on the original series. So I love the little elements that they're sprinkling in. I think for the first time, you know, we're starting to feel very cohesive. So from a production value, from sets and costumes, we're looking really good. The episode, the way it started out when we first saw Ensign Lance bash his head in on the corridor, it was starting to feel very Naked Now-ish. Naked Now, Naked Time. Some sort of disease causes the crew to go crazy, but in this case, all they crave is light. It's a major vitamin D deficiency, and all they want is light. They just want light. In this day and age, you know, disease-ridden shows, those hit different, thanks to COVID and the quarantines and everything that we've gone through, and tracing things back to a patient zero, or figuring out how something spreads, how it can be contracted, and how we watch everybody one by one get it. And we also see at the very beginning, you know, what something strange is happening with Una, and the way her skin glowed. In fact, the way her skin glowed, the first thing I thought of was Extremis from Iron Man 3. I think this was a good look at our doctor this week, Dr. Mbega, and he was definitely hiding something in the transporter. He did not like Hammer coming in and taking a look at that, and we found out it was his daughter. What propels him to move forward is finding a cure for his daughter. Wonderful little piece of character development, and it's amazing because it seems like everybody has something to hide. Pike felt like he had to hide his vision of the future. Una was hiding something. La'an is hiding something. We know now that she is definitely connected to Khan, and then of course now Omega. I like that the characters all have flaws. I like how they are not perfect. There were definitely some wonderful themes in this episode, but I am noticing an interesting thread through. It was a strong thread in Picard with Adam and Kore. I haven't watched season 4 of Discovery, so I can't tell you whether or not it was a thread in there. But genetic engineering. I mean, we are living now in an age of, you know, where transhumanism is starting to become a wider topic, I guess. And there's been a lot more genetic engineering, different ways to sample or enhance DNA. We're seeing a lot more talk of that, not just in science fiction, but in the world overall. you know, you kind of wonder where Star Trek is going with this, because we went through the whole eugenics wars back in the 60s with TOS, mentioned a little bit, and of course DS9. Yeah, I almost wonder if Star Trek is developing a little bit of an unhealthy fascination with genetic engineering, because I think the way they dealt with it in today's episode, if it becomes a little more widespread, that would wind up damaging some of Dr. Bashir's character plot lines from Deep Space Nine, and especially with his family. I think in this episode it was used more as a metaphor. You know, we do see a lot more of inclusion and acceptance with people with different lifestyles, and whether it's different lifestyles or different medical conditions, we're seeing a lot more acceptance and inclusion with that now in today's society, but there's still a lot of hatred and a lot of lack of understanding that goes along with that. And I think genetic engineering is perhaps being used just like how mutants and the X-Men have been used, especially in the movies, as a parallel for what the lack of inclusion, the lack of diversity, the lack of acceptance that we've seen here in the United States. So perhaps Star Trek is using genetic engineering with Una as a way to still address these things, because we, in America, we're still having issues with that. As I shoot this episode, it's almost Pride Month here in the United States, and I think, you know, this episode is definitely timely as we prepare for that. I think in the ready room between Una and Pike, Una walks in, offers her resignation. She knows she's done wrong, but her heart's in the right place, and I think it's a strong testament to Chris Pike and his character when he tells Una, "I reject your resignation. I'm not submitting you for any sort of disciplinary action. I know you. I know what you're capable of. You're my friend. I'm going to stand by you." And I think it's amazing to see. And part of me wonders if that boldness is also generated from he knows how his career is going to end. So he knows that he can go to the mattresses for her and still walk away unscathed. Or maybe it's just his friendship with Una. It was his friendship with Una that pulled him back into Starfleet a couple episodes ago, and now we see her and Pike just fully forming more and more of that friendship, and we get to see more behind the curtain. And I think that is really cool, and I think that's definitely a bold step Star Trek is taking. So this episode is a 4.5 on a scale of 5, but it's definitely on the same playing field as last week's episode. I think Strange New Worlds is giving us some good quality still, and I think there's still some great things to come. So Strange New Worlds producers, keep it up. You're doing a great job. Once again, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I've got some Star Wars stuff coming very, very soon. Obi-Wan Kenobi's just around the corner, so it's time to get ready for that. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and once again, live long and prosper.